Do you like NASCAR? Do you like a tribe called Quest? Well, you gonna love the Urban Conservative.
Do you like manwich and nachos? Well, then you love the Urban Conservative.
Do you like guns? Do you like butter? Well, you're gonna love the Urban Conservative.
Yo, what's good, son? You like pit bulls, say? You like solving Sudoku puzzles? Then you gonna love the Urban Conservative.
Hey, buddy, if your car making a sound like this, you might want to get you some power steering fluid and check out the Urban Conservative Podcast.
Are you repulsed by the idea of drag queen story time at your local library, but enjoy Carol Baskin TikTok memes? Then you would enjoy the Urban Conservative. Do you want to slap your boss and then go home and make yourself some golden brown pancakes covered in butter and freshly made warm boysenberry syrup? Then you'll love the Urban Conservative.
You're a little over, Cardi B, and you're repulsed by the thought of hog maw. Check out the Urban Conservative. You ready?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you know what time it is. Monday night. Time for some fireworks. Hope everybody had a good weekend. But as we do every Monday night around this time, it's time for the Urban Conservative Podcast. The TUC Twins in the building. Shouts out to my twin brother, Abdul Ali, who is on the road. I'm going to be rocking with y'all tonight. We got a really, really dope interview tonight. I'm excited about this one. This is going to be fun. But first and foremost, we got to get some things out of the way. There's some events popping off that we got to let you guys know about. Wednesday, July 26th. Shouts out to everybody out here in Suffolk County on my end of things. We're going to be joining Friends of Bill Parish for Southampton Town Council at Page 63 Main Street, Sag Harbor from 6 to 8 p.m. Open bar, hors d'oeuvres, $1.25 a person. I mean, in Sag Harbor, come on, you can't get a better view during the summer than Sag Harbor. So come on out. That's going to be Wednesday, July 26th from 6 to 8 p.m. We're going to be celebrating the official kickoff for the good buddy Bill Parish's campaign for Southampton Town Council. And of course, if you happen to be in the Rocky Mount area this Saturday, July 29th, Sensational Creations presents the Family and Friends Back to School celebration from 1 to 6 p.m. at Oakwood Shopping Center. You know, music, food, fun, some stuff for the kids. Come on out, enjoy yourself. Shouts out to Sid and everybody out in Rocky Mount. And last but definitely not least, the team to elect Christine Doherty presents a cozy evening with Christine and guest speaker Jeff Deal at the Rooted Cafe inside the historic Armory, 191 Highland Avenue, Somerville, Mass. That's this Saturday. No, that's the 29th. Sorry about that. Maybe that is this Saturday. I don't know. My days are all messed up. But 7 to 9 p.m., raffles, food, beer, wine, and an array of non-alcoholic beverages for you non-alcoholic drinking folks. But make sure to support Team Christine and all of the good folks that's out there running to get in position out there for the GOP. So shouts out to all of them. Now, as you guys seen on the intro screen, we got a great interview for you tonight. This gentleman that I'm about to bring on the show, one of my favorite things is that he's a cigar aficionado, right? I like, we like that. You see my cigar background. I had to get on a jacket for the gentleman. I had to do that. So coming to the show, 14-year, and maybe more than that, I think 14-year NYPD veteran, outspoken gentleman, got some interesting friends, has a very interesting story, and it's a cool dude. Welcome to the Urban Conservative Podcast for the very first time, the good brother Sal Greco. There he is. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Raheem. It's a pleasure being here. It's the cigars back there. I wish we could have a cigar together. Actually, that would be great. Maybe one day.
We'll get it done. We'll get it done. We're always around. So we'll make sure that happens. So I want to it's a lot to start with you, but your website's a very interesting website. You got a nice theme going on the website there. Former 14-year New York Police Department veteran, Sicilian American, strict fitness enthusiast, food connoisseur, and cigar aficionado. Let's start here. How did you get involved in law enforcement? What made you do that?
Well, Raheem, I actually joined the NYPD in 2008. That was during, if you remember at that time, they only wanted people, I guess they were paying them like $25,000, but the pay was really terrible. And in between, when I was in the police academy, it changed over to, I think, $44,000 a year for starting salary. So I joined for all the right reasons, Raheem. I'm a Brooklyn guy. I was a Bensonhurst kid growing up. I also lived in Florida, and then I moved back to Bay Ridge. And I wanted to make a difference out there. I thought I could bring the street knowledge that I had of being in the street all these years and having my own business and bring that to law enforcement. Looking back now, I wonder what the hell I was thinking, actually, because I should have known that, this side of the fence is almost as dirty, if not dirtier than the other side of the fence. You just want to keep me away from this,
Wow. So, growing up, how were you as a kid? Were you a troublemaker? Because some of us that end up going down that law enforcement path, or you said we have a street history, if you will, of being in the street. So what was young Sal like? Wild guy, calm guy? What was young Sal like?
Young Sal barely ever came out of the house, not until I was about 9 or 10 years old, other than being in school. Remember, I lived on 18th Avenue and back in the early to late 80s and then late 80s. I mean, it's a rough kind of town if you don't know the right people per se, So I did a lot of work, we'll say, with my father. I worked with my father, who was in the food business. So I traveled a lot in the East Coast of America. So let's say from New York down to North Carolina. I visited many pizzerias. So I'm, I have the restaurant. I'm a restaurateur, we'll say, my background. So I was doing that as a kid, and I pretty much stayed out of trouble. I never got involved in any drugs. I never touched any drugs other than vouchering them for the NYPD later on in my life. But I never did anything crazy. I'm not an alcoholic. I barely ever drink. I've gone 6 to 10 years without taking a sip of a drink. So, I'm just a straight kid, straight edge guy who likes to work out and smoke a cigar and hang out in cafes.
Not bad. So New York growing up, obviously a lot has changed, right? A lot has changed. What are the most glaring changes, right? Because a lot of our viewership, across the country, they may not understand. Like, we came up in the, let's say, late 80s, early 90s, and things were things then. But what was like New York coming up like for you?
The late 80s and early 90s was some of the best times I can remember as a kid. I still remember it to this day, especially with my father. I mean, we used to go down to, my sister went to Kingsborough, which I eventually went to Kingsborough Community College later on in my life. And I mean, used to go down the street on 18th Avenue, and there was a bunch of different cafes you could hang out in. I mean, we had the 18th Avenue feast, they had the Santa Rosalia feast. And back then, I mean, you had Ron DMC was big. I mean, we were playing that in the street. I mean, it was a great time. We had Guns N' Roses. Everybody got along. I mean, we had a lot. I mean, there was some incidents that happened later on in the neighborhood. But later on, when I moved to Bay Ridge and Dyker Heights, I mean, we hung out with everybody. I used to play stickball in McKinley Junior High School. I went to, I think there was there's a church across the street over there. I forgot the name. I went there for CCD class and all that. And we played football in Fort Hamilton. We had like the street games, street kids, we used to play video game. I'm not a video game guy now, but I did when I was 15 or 16 years old. And you have to understand that, life was a little different, where it was more free to, some jokes, some things you would say back then would today probably get you arrested. It'd be like, oh, my feelings are offended, but no one's feelings.
It's a hate crime now.
It's a hate crime around, And here's the thing, Raheem. I know how people are today. If you're a right winger, you're a left winger. I used to play games in soccer, whatever it was, no matter what we like. Some people at the time, I guess the early 90s was Bill Clinton and George Bush. I was a Republican. I was never a fan of George Bush, but let's say somebody grew up as a Democrat and I was a Republican. We really didn't care. We just went out to eat and did whatever. We were like, yeah, you vote for whatever. We don't like the same policies, but we're really good friends, almost like family. That is what's missing today. That completely disappeared. I don't know where that went, actually, Raheem. It's sad.
It is sad. And coming up, I don't even remember us discussing, politics. And for those who watch the show, kind of know me and my brother's background coming up in the New York State Child Protective Service system and all the group homes and things of that nature. Politics were like the furthest thing away from us. So, but even then, I don't even recall it being as divisive as it is now. And there's a lot of, for lack of a way to put it, there's a lot of wackadoodles running around. There's a lot of, these people are taking the identity politics a little bit too far. For my taste anyway. Like you said, we could agree to disagree on some things and go get a beer after, you know what I mean? Like, hey, well, you think we should do it this way, I think we should do it that way, and so what, the game is on. You know what I'm saying? Type of thing.
That's how
yeah.
So I don't know what happened. I really don't. I mean, you could almost be, you go to a cafe and sit down and have, espresso and cigars with a guy that, whatever, he voted different than you. Nobody really, thought about this. It's kind of like the Met fan and the Yankee fan in New York, We don't like the same team, but we all love baseball. And then, if we're all Italian or we're both, or whatever it is, we all hang out together, right? So why do we care about politics so much other than we're still human beings? I mean, that element has disappeared. And that was a big thing in New York growing up because, as you know, Raheem, most of New York is like 70% Democrat. The whole state is only blue, at least at the bottom part, Manhattan. And I mean, I worked for 14 years there. I mean, there was a lot of Democrats, but I still got along with people, Raheem. I still hung out with people, and I called them friends, and they were Democrats, so they're liberals. Today, they'll probably hate me because of who I'm friends with now, which is crazy. Because growing up, you never even thought about that. That's what's missing. And New York was very much everybody was kind of together even as a community. Everybody just wanted to hang out and have fun or watch a game. But I mean, all of this is gone. It's really sad. It's a sad state of affairs, right?
Yeah, I totally 100% agree with you. Before we go to commercial, right? You talked a little bit about getting involved in law enforcement, and you have a very interesting story about not being on the force now. And I want you to share that because I think it's an unfortunate situation. We need more guys like you on the force and I'm not going to say don't see color because I'm obviously tan, right? I'm clearly brown, right? But
I'm Sicilian. I am in the dark myself. So.
Right, but we judge people based on the content of their character, not so much, whatever these other things that come along with it. But share with the audience a little bit about how you got into the situation with Roger Stone and being taken off the force and all of that, because I think the more people know about this, it'll kind of wake them up to some of the corruption going on here in New York, which there's plenty of it to go around. But real quick, share that with the folks.
All right, Raheem. Well, I'm a 14-year veteran at NYPD. I have an unblemished record. I had over 320 arrests. I've been in and out of court with every case I've had being a conviction. I've won over 50 medals in the NYPD. But around 2018, I became friends with Roger Stone, and that irked somebody years later. And they investigated me for about 19 months total. I went through 2 interrogations. I went through a Soviet-style show trial, administrative trial. I also was subpoenaed by the January 6th committee. I mean, whatever they could throw at me, they did. I was ultimately terminated for some fabricated charge. And this is the charge, actually, the main one. There's a patrol guide procedure. Now, the patrol guide, Raheem, is you have to follow these rules. It's a guide of rules, which everyone from the police commissioner down, which we'll get to later on, have to follow these rules. So the rule they terminated me on and they kept throwing at me with Roger is you cannot wrongfully and knowingly associate with someone who's reasonably believed to have engaged in or likely to have engaged in criminal activity. So if you understand this, Raheem, how many people do you know growing up or to this day that may have a parking ticket or something that they may or may have done or whatever they've done in their lifetime? Because this is what they used. This is what they used to say, you're associating with Roger Stone, who we don't like, and somebody else that worked for Roger. So therefore, we must terminate you. It's an arbitrary thing because everyone should be terminated for this if you use that terminology. So we did that. They've terminated me in August, and I immediately filed a lawsuit at the end of August. And right now we're locked in a federal court in the Second Circuit there in New York, in the Eastern District, in front of Judge Block. And they filed a second motion to dismiss. And that's what we're stuck on. They're trying to dismiss the case. That's obvious. Because my argument was, after I made an amended complaint, if you're terminating me for this exact rule, just a few months ago, they invited Cardi B to the police academy. Now, Cardi B, yes, she's a convicted criminal. She's also a known gang member, and she's very adversarial to the police department. So if she's allowed to parade around the police academy, taking pictures and hobnobbing with numerous officers, okay, then how is that nobody gets terminated for this or even disciplined? Whereas I was terminated for this, that you're stating Roger Stone is a bad guy, but Cardi B is a good person, which you can't do. So now in their motion to dismiss, they said that I bizarrely, which is not even a word, claimed this, okay, and that there was a court order. Their problem with the court order is Eric Adams, your wonderful mayor of New York City, came out just a couple of days after this whole incident and stated, well, she was invited to the police academy and we don't discard people. Eric, if you don't discard people, why are you discarding Roger and myself? Because you're clearly stating that Cardi B is good and Roger Stone is bad. Later on, as you know, Raheem, the police commissioner, which was Keesan Shulin, she fired me. She left because there's an upheaval in the police department. The problem here is the delegation of power is lost. Obviously, the police commissioner, which I used in my complaint and my rebuttal to the motion to dismiss. Well, how come the police commissioner stated to the Daily News she had no idea that Cardi B was coming to the police academy? Because obviously, you can tell now from months later what was going on. The deputy mayor of public safety, Philip Banks, who was a chief of department in the NYPD, he's the de facto leader here. And his cohort, Timothy Pearson, who's his deputy, who was also in the NYPD. These two guys you should look into. They have a very checkered past. I don't even know how they have an office on the 6th floor of the police academy when you talk about this double standard. And obviously, Eric Adams at the top. This is who's really running the police department today, as of today. Now, you also notice we had Ed Caban, who's now the police commissioner. Okay, he was the first deputy commissioner. Now we're going to fast forward because now there's going to be new arguments and we have new problems with the NYPD. Ed Caban, first off, his brother, James, he's a criminal. He was on the job in the late 90s. He was arrested because he handcuffed someone, a cab driver, and he beat him senseless in the car, and he was arrested for this charge. There was a hung jury, but they terminated him anyway. Then later on, there's numerous articles that are written about him. He's known as the slumlord of the Bronx. He was picked up on a warrant. So he went to jail for 30, 40 days, wherever the case is. Technically, by this terminology, you cannot wrongfully knowingly associate with someone who's likely to have engaged in a reasonable. There it is. There's numerous pictures of him, not only with his brother, but with Eric Adams together. And then thirdly, there's this new thing what now is being uncovered. This place called Consafritos. It's in the Bronx. The owner of it is Jimmy Rodriguez Jr. This guy goes by Jimmy Bronx Cafe. Go look this guy up. I mean, there is a history with this guy. He himself in the late 90s tried to run over his wife and was arrested for this. Now, I don't know the details of the case, but obviously that would be reasonably believed to have engaged in or likely to have engaged in criminal activity. So the place then, there's a podcast that was on YouTube, which I tweeted out, where someone literally states that the Jimmy Bronx Cafe, he had a place called Jimmy's Cafe, was known as a cocaine buffet. There were baseball players and many celebrities that would go and do cocaine in the place. So guess who he's pictured with all the time? And he's the owner of Consafritos.
Let me guess. Adams?
Adams is one. 2 is Mr. Ed Caban, your police commissioner. 3 is his brother. 4 is his sergeant. 5 is the chief of department, Jeffrey Badgery, another Mr. Wonderful. I mean, the list could go on and on. Numerous police officers are pictured with this guy. So under your terminology, number one, Consofrito should be on an unlawful location, meaning no police officer should go there knowing that there's allegations of cocaine in this place. Whether it was the old place or the new place, it's very well known when you talk about this guy in law enforcement circles, cocaine is the first thing they talk about. So you cannot be near this guy, as per the patrol guy procedure stated. So how is it that they have a picture of him on his website that they took down, but I still have it?
Oh, we got a freeze. All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We're going to try to get Sal back in here so he can finish telling us what's going on with this. Stay tuned. You're checking out the Monday Night Urban Conservative Podcast, the TUC Podcast. We'll be right back after this quick commercial break.
Just because you're black doesn't mean you have to vote Democrat. This year, in order to see benefits for our communities, we need to vote outside the box. Find out more by visiting us at tuconservative.com.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, as we wait for Sal to get back in here, I want to remind you guys once again, please, if you are in the Rocky Mount area, we want you to come on out. The 29th, right? We want you to come out the 29th and join Sensational Creations presents the Family and Friends Back to School Celebration. July 29th, 2023, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. at Oakwood Shopping Center. Music, food, fun for the kids as well. Some back-to-school supplies being sponsored, all that good stuff. Okay, we got Sal back in the mix, right? So, again, I just want to remind everybody, if you're around, come on out. Saturday the 29th. So real quick, before you got cut off, Sal, you were saying...
Okay. What was I up to? I was up to the part.
You were up to the part where you were saying that these images were on the website, they were taken down, you still got them, and by their terminology, these people, any good law enforcement person knows not to be at that place, and kind of this is where the shoot's at. They're gonna try to dismiss it. They're working to dismiss it, and this is kind of where things are.
Yeah, so what I'm trying to get at is the place should be an unlawful location. That in itself is its own. It should be investigated. There should be people up in arms about this. I mean, last night, Eric Adams was spotted at this place at 1:30 in the morning. I mean, Pat Lynch, the former PBA president, who walked away when he saw me about a year and a half ago when I was during my witch hunt, he had a going away, like a retirement party there with numerous officers. This is all knowing these allegations I'm telling you about. Why no one is either looking into this or immediately saying, why is anyone associating with this guy or this place? That's a red flag. That could easily be brought up in my case. And believe me, it will be. So Jimmy Bronx Cafe is one thing. The reason it's not an unlawful location is another. And my argument is real simple here, Raheem. It's saying, look, you're stating that my relationship with Roger, my continued relationship being his friend would have been my employment at NYPD would have been detrimental to the police department, me being his friend. So what about Ed Caban and his whole group and Madry and all these guys? And by the way, there's also rumors of Pearson and Banks going there. The whole crew hang out in this one place that's known for drugs with the guy who was locked up and is a known criminal, but yet I'm the one terminated. Someone explain this to me. How does this work in America? So it's like Eric said, he said this once in the New York Post. It can't be one rule for Eric and another rule for everybody else, but apparently there is. Right.
We're seeing that on a bunch of different levels, this two-tiered system of justice, if you will. We see it with the Trump witch hunt. We see this with people going after not just the Trump family, but the whistleblowers now. They're going through, a level of scrutiny and pressure that really doesn't make sense. And we're not to make this about politics, but it just so happens that these are all Democrats. It just so what's the chances that all of these guys are Democrats? And it's an unfortunate set of circumstances. And
but
we want to keep you. Yeah, go ahead.
We were actually talking about this a little bit earlier, before I came on. But actually, Eric Adams himself was in the documentary about the Supreme Team. You know who those guys were. There was a guy, Corey Pegues, who was involved. Corey Pegues was an inspector. He made 20 years in the police department, and then he made news that they found out he wrote a book that he was part of this gang before he got on the job. So they revoked his gun license. They revoked the gun from him, Corey Pegues. So Mayor Eric Adams was in this documentary with Corey Pegues. And then there's another documentary where Timothy Pearson is speaking on behalf of Corey Pegues glowingly. Mind you, they're all involved around this Supreme Team gang who you remember in the 70s and 80s, had it not been for the Supreme Team and some of their associates, the entire TNT crackdown, remember when they were just locking up everyone, predominantly African Americans all over the country, and then Joe Biden and Bill Clinton together wrote that horrendous bill.
That 95 crime bill, the 94 crime bill, right.
It was all because of this one incident. And then because they shot the Officer Byrne, I believe. They basically, that was crazy. They shot him in the back. They broke the window.
Nuts, yeah.
It was uncalled. It was an unsanctioned thing. The Supreme Team allegedly had nothing to do with it, but the guy who did it was trying to curry a favor with whatever the guy was, Fat Tony, I think his name was, another guy who was associated from distant. So that whole era is the reason everything started. So, and then in the end, there's other guys that are still in prison. This guy McGriff, they're all in prison still, all because of this one thing. And it goes back to one incident. And here's Eric Adams, your New York City mayor, talking like it's glowingly, because I think he thinks he's Nicky Barnes or something. I don't know. It's just unbelievable why the mayor of the city would want to talk on a documentary glowing about these people growing up. I mean, how many people died because of those drugs? They also showed that in the documentary.
Right. I put it up on the screen. You guys should go watch that Showtime documentary. Now listen, kind of on the tail end of things here, right? We got a few minutes left here, and there's some things, as this being your first time on the show, I told you in the beginning, but I didn't prep you, right? I didn't prep you with any of the questions. So everybody knows how we give it up. We're at the 27-minute mark. I'm going to throw some questions at you, right, in this lightning round. And, this is how it goes. Hold on. Let me kill this music here. Give me a sec. Let me kill the music here. All right. So this is what you got. We're going to, Sal Greco's on the lightning round. So here we go, folks. Question 1, would you rather smoke only one high quality premium cigar per month or smoke a mediocre cigar every day?
One high quality cigar.
Okay. Would you rather have a private cigar lounge with a limited cigar choices or be a member of a prestigious cigar club with an extensive selection but crowded ambiance?
Private.
You're going to take the private. Okay. Surf and turf or steakhouse classic?
Steakhouse classic.
Okay. Rare or well done?
Rare.
All right, here we go. Spice rub or marinade?
Marinade.
Fair. Ribeye or filet mignon?
Filet mignon, always.
Really? Not the ribeye? Okay. Schwarzenegger or Stallone?
Stallone. He's one of my own.
Okay, fair enough. All-American barbecue steak or Argentinian chimichurri steak?
All-American barbecue, all day.
Okay. Friends or the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air?
I love the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Will Smith is hilarious.
All right. Kobe or Jordan?
That's a tough one, but Kobe was Italian, so I have to go with Kobe.
Okay. Kobe beef or Wagyu? What are we going with?
Kobe beef.
Oh, really? Okay, fair.
Yeah.
Steak fries or steak fritas or steak sandwich?
I'd have to go with a steak sandwich.
Okay, and this is going to be my last steak question. A1 or Worcestershire?
A1.
A1, really? Okay. Nike or Adidas?
That's a tough one, but Nike's the number one brand that is, but Adidas does have Messi. I'd probably do Adidas only to give the knock that they're not as big a company yet.
Okay, fair enough. Last question. You're stuck on a desert island. You got 3 meals. This is what you're eating the rest of your life. What's your breakfast? What's your lunch? What's your dinner? What's the one book you're going to have and the one musical album you're going to have?
Breakfast is eggs and oatmeal. Lunch is probably bison with either brown rice or quinoa or sweet potato. Add some greens onto that. Dinner, of course, as an Italian, chicken parm and pasta. My one book, probably because he's my friend, I'd have any one of Roger's books.
Okay.
The album, that's a tough one because I'm thinking it could be many. In the 80s, 90s. I could probably have a
You only got
collection.
one.
That's a hard one. I mean, I had a lot of people I like, I grew up in the 80s. There was Led Zeppelin. There was Guns N' Roses. You had Michael Jackson. I had Ron DMC. I have now in the 90s had I'd probably go with Led Zeppelin. One of Led Zeppelin's albums.
Fair enough.
I grew up with them, and they were very prominent in my household.
Fair enough. So, Sal Greco, you've won the lightning round. The floor is yours. Take up as much time as you need. Let the folks know where they can check you out, how they can support your movement. Check out your cigars. The floor is yours, sir.
I lose them again?
Nope, we're here. We're here. Oh, we lost Sal. All right, hold on, folks. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we're going to get Sal back in here to do his 30-second plug. Hang on real quick.
Just because you're black doesn't mean you have to vote Democrat. This year, in order to see benefits for our communities, we need to vote outside the box. Find out more by visiting us at tuconservative.com. Just because you're black doesn't mean you have to vote Democrat. This year, in order to see benefits for our communities, we need to vote outside the box. Find out more by visiting us at tuconservative.com. Just because you're black doesn't mean you have to vote Democrat. This year, in order to see benefits for our communities, we need to vote outside the box. Find out more by visiting us at tuconservative.com. Just because you're black doesn't mean you have to vote Democrat. This year, in order to see benefits for our communities, we need to vote outside the box. Find out more by visiting us at tuconservative.com.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we lost Sal. He probably lost service where he's at, unfortunately. So we owe him a plug. We're going to give him another 15. So, oh, there we go. We got Sal. It says no video feed, but we got him anyway. Here we go. Here we go. We got action. All right, there you go. Okay, we got action. All right, the floor is all yours, sir. 30 seconds to a minute. Plug what you got to plug. It's all yours.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
Yeah, the Wi-Fi where you at is probably weak, but go ahead, go for it.
All right, well, for anyone who wants to follow me, go to Twitter at the Sal Greco, Truth Social at Head of the Table, on Instagram at the Sal Greco, and obviously go to salgreco.com. You could buy a shirt there, and if you want.
Very good, very good. Well,
if you want, you could help me out by donating to me personally for my legal expenses and whatnot. You go into one of my videos. You can click down. There's a box there. If not, you go https /donorbox.org/stop/ and you go to my donor box down there and you can contribute whatever you want there. I don't know if you got the whole part because I don't know what's going on with the Wi-Fi here, but
no worries. We got you locked in.
salgreco.com.
Yep. And obviously we're gonna have the website up here. Boom. There you go. There's the website. Make sure to visit salgreco.com. He has an amazing story. Check out everything the brother got going on. For my twin brother, Abdul Ali, I'm Raheem Architect Soto. We've been kicking it today with Sal Greco. Again, make sure you visit salgreco.com. Support what he got going on. Learn more. We're going to get the brother back on when he's, when we get that Wi-Fi together. But for my twin brother, Abdul Ali, I'm Raheem Architect Soto. This has been another Monday night with the Urban Conservative. Peace and love, folks.